Today I am going to show you how I took a simple thrift shop item and turned it into a cool sci-fi prop. Let's get started. Okay, so I just got back from the thrift shop and I spent about $13 total on all this stuff here, but I think I want to put almost all my focus on this guy right here. As I was driving home, I was trying to figure out what I really wanted to make out of this stuff, and I thought this would be really cool to kind of turn into like some maybe alien goo carrying chamber. Okay, so the first thing I had to do was I had to remove the print off of the glass, so I had a clear glass container. To do this, I wrapped the cup in acetone covered paper towel and then let it sit overnight. Okay, so a majorly minor mistake has been made. Apparently, if you're a bumbling idiot like me, you shouldn't work with glass things because stuff like this happens. Yeah. But I ran back to the thrift store and actually found this jar that fits this lid. So, crisis averted? Just wish me luck I don't break this one as well. So I had a couple ideas floating around my head, and the one thing I knew this project would need was some sort of glowing liquid. This liquid was something I tackled later in this video though. To make everything glow, I needed to be able to have lights in the glass chamber as well. Since this lid had a two-part system, I thought maybe I could put the battery pack in the cap section of this. So to start the process, I took apart one of my mini UV lights so I could utilize these set of LEDs to help speed up any of the glowing process that I had in mind for the liquid. With this LED pack, I can use the center post here as my positive lead, and then these side pieces here are my ground. So I can just solder the wires here and then put this aside for now. Next, what I needed to do was set up the battery pack and the switches for these lights. I always suggest testing things like this outside of the unit before you assemble it and to make sure everything works. If it works, you are all set to start installing everything. Next, what I needed to do was actually figure out where on the cap I wanted these momentary switch and the main power switch to be. I also cut out a spot for a green LED and a spot for a broken momentary switch that I was going to throw in here for looks. Once I marked those out, I went in with my stepper bit to cut out those holes. And what I wanted to do here was I wanted to cut out some of the pour spout area so that I had a little extra light coming through the top area into the goo. I didn't want to take too much out of here because I still wanted to have space to attach a red LED in the lid as well. To glue everything down, I actually used a mix of super glue and UV resin. They seem to adhere to the stainless steel a lot better than the hot glue did. The hot glue did work well for holding down some of the wires into the lid when I was trying to solder everything up. This kept everything cleaned up for the most part for the final setup. So at this point, I started assembling everything. I started off by screwing in these switches and getting those in place. It was as simple as just dropping them in and then adding the nut that came with the switches. Once they were all in place, it was time to start soldering everything together so I could get the power running to all the lights. The momentary switch is actually connected to cut out the power to the main light and turn on a red LED like something has maybe gone wrong in the containment chamber. And then I just dressed up the top with some fake wires for some looks. And the last thing I needed to do with the lid was actually make it look a little more beat up like it's an actual prop. So to achieve this, I took some acrylic brown, orange, and red paints and dabbed a bunch of rust marks all over the metal. I felt like this gave the whole thing a much more grungy look. With everything finished with the lid, it was time to make the glowing goo. So to achieve this, I decided to take some fragrance-free body wash and dumped it into the glass jar. Once the bottle was finally empty, I took some green and yellow glow-in-the-dark pigment and mixed it into the body wash, and the effect turned out perfect. Alright, thank you everyone, and I want to throw a special thanks over to my patrons. If it wasn't for all of you over there, videos like this wouldn't be possible. And if you haven't yet, make sure you watch this video right here, where I actually made a Rick and Morty portal gun. And remember, like always, keep drawing, and until next time, bye!